If she hadn't walked into that room, I would have signed my life away. James Miller's hand hovered over the contract, pen trembling. The words on the paper meant nothing to him. They were all in German. The man across from him, a billionaire with a cold smile, kept urging, "Just sign, Mr. Miller, you'll be a very rich man." He was about to do it, until the door burst open and a young woman in plain clothes stepped in, her voice cutting through the airs. "Don't sign. They're stealing everything from you." The conference room smelled faintly of polished wood and fresh coffee. Rain tapped softly against the tall glass windows, blurring the Berlin skyline beyond. James Miller sat at the long oak table, pen in hand, staring at the thick stack of documents in front of him. His heart pounded, not from excitement, but from something he couldn't name. The CEO of one of Germany's largest tech companies, Klaus Reinhardt, sat across from him, his gold watch catching the light with every movement. Beside Klaus sat two stone-faced lawyers, flipping pages in their own copies of the contract. Everything looked neat, professional, trustworthy. But James didn't speak German, and the papers were entirely in German. The company's translator, who was supposed to walk him through every clause, had been called away last minute for an urgent meeting. Klaus assured James it was fine, that it was a standard acquisition deal, nothing unusual. "Just sign here, Mr. Miller," Klaus said in smooth English, pointing to the bottom of the first page. "It's all as we discussed. You'll be a very rich man." James hesitated. His gut whispered something different. But then he thought about his struggling small tech startup back in New York, the debts piling up, the employees counting on him. Maybe this was the only way out. He took a deep breath, lifted the pen, and that's when the door burst open. A woman in a cleaning uniform stood there, holding a bucket in one hand and a mop in the other. Her hair was tied back in a messy bun, her cheeks flushed. Beside her was a young woman in her early 20s, with sharp brown eyes that scanned the room instantly.
"Papa, stop!"
the young woman said in perfect English, her voice trembling but firm. Everyone froze. "She's not your translator," Klaus snapped, annoyed. "No," the young woman replied, stepping forward, "but I speak German, and I've just seen the last page of that contract. Mr. Miller, if you sign that, you'll lose everything you own." James felt the blood drain from his face. The room's tension thickened instantly. Klaus's lawyers exchanged quick glances, their faces stiff but uneasy. James set the pen down slowly. "What did you say?" The young woman moved toward him, her mother, the cleaning lady, hesitant but supportive behind her. "My name's Sophia. I came to bring my mom lunch, and I noticed one of your pages had fallen on the floor outside. I read it." Klaus's voice was ice. "That's private company property. You have no right." "Mr. Miller," Sophia interrupted, ignoring Klaus, "the contract doesn't just sell your company. It hands over your patents, your software rights, even your name as a brand. You'd be legally forbidden to start another business in the same field for the next 20 years. James blinked. "That's not what we agreed on." "It's what's written here," Sophia said, flipping to a paragraph in the middle of the contract and translating it word for word. Her tone was steady, but James noticed her hands shaking slightly. She was nervous, yet determined. Klaus leaned forward, his smile gone. "Mr. Miller, I assure you this is standard practice." "No," Sophia shot back. "It's theft, hidden behind legal language." The room went silent. The rain outside grew heavier, thunder rumbling in the distance. James stared at Sophia. This young woman, who moments ago was just a stranger in a cleaning uniform's shadow, had just saved him from a trap that could have destroyed everything he had built. Klaus exhaled sharply. "If you don't want the deal, Mr. Miller, there are others who will take it." James stood up slowly. "Not like this." Sophia's mother looked down, afraid she might lose her job for her daughter's boldness. But instead, James turned to her and said quietly, "Thank you, both of you." As James walked out of the building, Sophia followed him to the elevator. "I'm sorry if I caused trouble," she said. "You didn't cause trouble," James replied, pressing the button. "You stopped it." And in that moment, James knew this meeting wasn't over. He had to know more about Sophia and why she was so willing to risk everything for a stranger. James couldn't stop replaying the moment in his head. The sound of Sophia's voice cutting through that boardroom. The fire in her eyes when she faced Klaus and his lawyers. Most people would have stayed quiet. Most people wouldn't have risked speaking up. But she did. Back at his hotel that evening, James sat in the dim light, laptop open, the Berlin rain still falling outside. His inbox was full. Angry emails from Klaus's assistant demanding a meeting, concerned messages from his own partners back in New York wondering why he hadn't signed. He ignored them all and typed Sophia Reinhardt into the search bar. Nothing, no LinkedIn profile, no university record, nothing in the corporate world. But he did find an old local news article from 3 years ago. Top law student drops out to care for ill parent. There was a photo, Sophia younger, holding a certificate. Behind her, the same woman he'd seen in the cleaning uniform. James leaned back, rubbing his temples. She wasn't just a random cleaning lady's daughter. She had once been a rising legal star until something pulled her away from it. The next morning, he went looking for her. He found Sophia in the building's basement cafeteria, sitting at a small table with her mother, Maria. They were sharing a simple meal, bread, soup, and coffee. Sophia looked tired, like someone who carried the weight of too many responsibilities. When James approached, Maria started to stand, but he gestured for her to stay seated. "I owe you both an apology," James began. "Yesterday, you didn't just stop me from making a bad deal. You probably saved my company." Sophia gave a small smile but said nothing. "Why did you help me?" he asked. Sophia hesitated. "Because I hate people like him," she said quietly. "Men who think they can bury lies in contracts and take everything from people who can't read the fine print. I've seen it happen before." "To my father?" James leaned forward. "Your father?" Maria's eyes dropped to the table, her hand tightening around her coffee cup. Sophia continued, her voice trembling but steady. "My father owned a small auto shop here in Berlin. One day a big company offered to partner with him. They brought him a contract, also in German legal jargon, and he signed without understanding. Within a year we lost the shop, we lost everything. He couldn't handle it. He died 2 years later from a heart attack. My mother started cleaning offices to survive, and I left law school to help pay the bills." James felt a knot in his throat. The story hit too close to home. He thought of his own father, who'd worked 2 jobs to keep his dream alive. "I guess I couldn't watch it happen to someone else." Sophia finished. The cafeteria was quiet for a moment, the clatter of trays and distant chatter muffled by the weight of her words. James finally spoke. "Sophia, how would you like to work for me?" Maria looked up, startled. Sophia frowned. "Doing what?" "Protecting people like me from making stupid mistakes," James said. "You clearly know the law better than most people I've met, and I think you've got the courage to match it." Sophia laughed softly, shaking her head. "I appreciate it, but I can't just leave my mom." Maria touched her daughter's hand. "If this is a real opportunity, you should take it. You've sacrificed enough for me." Sophia looked between them, torn. Then she met James's eyes. "All right. But I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it because there are too many Klaus Reinhardts out there, and I'm not letting them win." James smiled. "That's exactly why I want you on my team." As they shook hands, neither of them knew that Klaus Reinhardt was already planning his revenge, and that Sophia's decision had just made her a target. As James and Sophia shook hands, the faintest smile touched her lips, a smile that hid the storm of memories she carried. Somewhere in the towering glass building above them, Klaus Reinhardt stood by his office window, watching their handshake from a distance. He didn't smile. Instead, he turned to his lawyer and said coldly, "Find out everything about her. If she wants to play hero, we'll make her wish she hadn't." And just like that, the deal James had walked away from turned into a battle, one that neither he nor Sophia had ever imagined they would have to fight.